In my opinion, this is one of the best day hikes in the Southern California area. We start here at Frenchman Flat Day Use Area. We're gonna hike 11 miles up to Slide Mountain, which is this way. It's gonna be about 2,500 feet of elevation gain. There's some cool sights along the way, including this here. This is the abandoned stretch of Highway 99. It has been abandoned for several decades, so we're gonna check this out. We'll check some other unique historic sites as well. After a half mile of walking along the abandoned stretch of Highway 99, you run into this water basin of sorts. I believe this was from the 1930s. So vehicles traveling down Highway 99 that need an emergency water could use this. I assume for like an overheated radiator or, other water emergency needs. It's about 2 or 3 feet deep in there. Pretty cool spot. The water was extracted from here. This is Piru Creek down here. We'll see the water in a moment. We're still about a half mile into the hike, and you can vaguely hear and occasionally can see a large truck pass through. Right on this ridge line here is Interstate 5. So prior to Interstate 5 being built, this Highway 99 was the main corridor from Central to Southern California. Don't really see any trucks at the moment, but I assure you, this ridge line here is where Interstate 5 passes through. We'll have a couple other shots of Interstate 5. We're just over half mile into the hike, and this is our first opportunity to hike down to Piru Creek. So on the right-hand side here, there's a little trail that heads down to Piru Creek. We're gonna head down now. Can't be more than like a 1/10 of a mile to get down there to the water. You can see where the green is, water flows. Check it out in a moment. And here's Piru Creek, very good flow. There is trout fishing, catch and release only here. This is a common trout fishing spot here. Really nice creek. It's very rare in Southern California that you have creeks that flow year round. This creek does flow year round. The reason being is about 1.5 miles north of here is Lake Piru. So this is water runoff from Lake Piru. And it's always flowing. Piru Creek. We're still about a half mile into the hike. Roughly 100 feet past that spur that took us down to Piru Creek. Here's a bridge that crosses Piru Creek, built in 1932. It's kind of neat. You can see the wood planking here. I assume original from that era. Hard to tell for certain. Looks possible. There's Piru Creek down there. You can hear it and see it flowing as well. We'll still be heading this way. This half mile into the hike section had a few cool spots, so we stopped for a bit. I had never noticed this before, but the other side of the bridge is dated 1951 with slightly more modern metal guardrails. So I'm guessing this side of the bridge with the wooden plank guardrails, built in 1932. This side of the bridge, 1951. I'm not sure why. Maybe there was a collapse of this side of the bridge. Not really sure. Kind of neat though. Again, still headed this way. We're roughly 1.1 miles into the hike now. Another cool spot of Piru Creek. Apparently, this creek is subject to flooding. Makes sense. Looks like a pretty cool fishing hole down here, maybe even a swimming hole, if you so desire. Today it's a bit windy, it's about 60 degrees, so I'm certainly not jumping in, but it does get to be about 110 degrees here. So maybe on days such as that, I could be convinced to jump into this water. I can think of worse things to do on hot days. Still headed this way. The canyon section starts looking a little bit cooler here. About 1.4 miles into the hike. This is still the abandoned stretch of Highway 99. I just like this windy bend of the canyon section. You could see the layering of the rocks here. The camera shrinks these mountains quite a bit. I'm gonna guess these, I don't know, maybe 700 feet on the left side, maybe 400 feet here on the right. So pretty picturesque. So after 1.8 miles of relatively flat walking / hiking along the abandoned stretch of Highway 99, On the left-hand side, you run into this white gate on a fire road. This is the beginning of the climb, and it's a pretty serious climb. It's about 2,500 feet from here. There it is. Pretty hard to miss. I guess you could miss it. About a half mile further, you'll run into the Pyramid Lake Dam in the Pyramid Lake Pyramid. Definitely worth it. I've just done it several times and I'm going to skip it. It adds an extra bonus mile. The cool thing here is Highway 99 runs directly under Pyramid Lake. So they just built Pyramid Lake directly on top of the old abandoned Highway 99. It's kind of cool. We're headed up this way. These are false summits, so we'll see the Slide Mountain Peak in a little bit. But time to start climbing. Cardio time. About 2.3 miles into the hike. Still climbing up the Slide Mountain. As you can see here, the fire road turns into, I wouldn't say single track quite yet, but not really fire road either. I guess if you're feeling frisky, you could take a vehicle up here. I certainly wouldn't do it. Of course, public vehicles aren't allowed access to this abandoned stretch of Highway 99 and this fire road anyways. But headed up, you see some chaparral yuccas there. Some evergreen chaparral in the hills here as well. Roughly 2.6 miles into the hike, and this is about as steep as the grade gets. Of course, the camera doesn't do the steepness justice, but not incredibly steep, not flat by any means. It is a tough hike. I'd say if you're in moderate fitness without any health issues, this hike is very doable. Cool thing about this one is with the 2,500 feet of elevation gain, it's still a good hike for someone in great fitness, and it's a big time challenge for somebody that's in, normal fitness. So good for everyone. 2.7 miles in, and the views are starting to get pretty good. You can see some large trucks there on Interstate 5 on that ridge line. That's not the best view though. This is where the views of Pyramid Lake start opening up. So right through this evergreen chaparral, you can see our first good view of Pyramid Lake. Once we get to the top of Slide Mountain, the views will be much better, but man, that's still a good view. See a boat out there. It's our first electrolyte break of the day. We're going Powerade Great today. 3.2 miles in, views are great. Again, another shot of Interstate 5 up there. We are headed this way. Climb is pretty tough. That's a false summit. So after we get to this false summit, we'll see kind of the peak of Slide Mountain. We won't see the lookout, but we'll see essentially the real summit. We're headed along this way, along this ridge. Still a lot of climbing to do. Slide Mountain. 6 miles in, another incredible view of Pyramid Lake. I don't see a single boat on the lake today, and it is beautiful. It's got to be 65, 70 degrees at the moment. It's Thursday, about noon. Headed this way, still just under 2 miles of hiking left. 4 miles into the hike, and this is a cool spot. This is the Los Padres National Forest. So we spent most of the day today, or all the day today, in the Angeles National Forest. You can vaguely see Lake Piru there. That is Lake Piru of the Los Padres National Forest. Of course, we spent a lot of time looking at Pyramid Lake, and we'll spend a lot more time at the top of Slide Mountain, checking out the great view of Pyramid Lake. This is the Angeles National Forest. Right here. Down there, you can still see the abandoned Highway 99. We've come up about 1,500 feet so far. Mile and a half left of hiking. We're headed this way. That's Slide Mountain right up there. You can't see the lookout, but we're getting close. Let's go. And right before I was about to shut it down, that is a red-tailed hawk. For sure, a red tail just soaring in the sky there between two national forests. Cool day. Finally, after 4.2 miles, the real single track begins. This is my favorite part of the trail. I just like single track, especially when your view becomes the Los Padres National Forest with a slightly better view of Lake Piru back there. Pretty impressive range here. Some jagged peaks. These peaks are about, they're definitely over 4,000 feet, the most of them. Four season sort of peaks. Certainly get snow here every winter. Man, this is a cool spot. Just love it. Back to the single track, almost there. 4.2 miles, 1.3 miles left to go. I never noticed this before, but at 4.2 miles, there's a little natural rockfall cave here that goes back about 10, 15 feet. The lighting isn't great, but you can see it there. You can walk back there. Similar to like a Pinnacles National Park on a far smaller scale. Rockfall caves. And then from the cave, your view is this. Just another great view of Lake Piru, Los Padres National Forest, and then the trail right there. Beautiful area, man. Slide Mountain Lookout. 5.5 miles to get up here, elevation 4,631 feet. We like to have a nice cold Coca-Cola at summits sometimes. Good way to get some calories and some sugar in. We'll be checking out this lookout here and then headed back the other 5.5 miles. This is an out and back hike. It's an incredible day. Highly recommended. And here it is, just an incredible view of Pyramid Lake. We went up 20 stairs to the Slide Mountain Lookout. Looks like there's no Angeles National Forest personnel in there at the moment. I'm a little afraid of heights. We climbed those 20 stairs. I mean, it's doable, but for someone that has a little fear of heights, a little sketch. And then one more shot. Thanks for watching the video. Highly recommend this hike. Just super underrated. Certainly one of the best hikes in Southern California, at least in my opinion.